Explorers, it's time. You'll face off against many others. There are countless strategies and paths to success. Find the ones that get you back alive.
This is where the real fun starts!
I've been preparing this for years. Now, I need you.
Right, so that's Scavengers. Hi, I'm Ayashi-sama, and I have Xenosector, who's also going to assist me with talking about Scavengers. We were lucky enough to be part of the 50,000 people who were in the closed beta that took place in the later half of December, and we had an absolute blast playing this game. And we're going to give you some general information about the game, talk about what it's like, which genre is it, and then we're also going to watch some gameplay footage that we were kindly provided by Scavengers. And talk about our experience in the game. So it's a Washington-based company called Midwinter Entertainment. You can see the logo up there. And it was founded by people who have had very successful careers in AAA gaming. And they're all veterans coming from franchises like Halo, Battlefield, and Battlefront. Namely, some of the people who are in it are Josh Holmes, Philip Pearson, Daryl Anselmo, and Peter Buzinski. Holmes might be a name that you recognize because he was the creative director in Halo 4, and he was also the studio head of 343 Industries for Halo 5 Guardians. And Midwinter was acquired by Improbable in September of 2019. And what we're going to talk about is Scavengers, which is a sandbox online shooter game, which is going to come out in 2021. We don't know yet in which quarter, but we will get more information in the middle of January, hopefully. And Xeno will tell you a bit more about it.
Scavengers. In squads of 3, dive into the cold frozen remnants of Earth. Pick from a unique roster of survivors with different abilities and signature weapons. Compete in large-scale objective-based matches against other players to gain data points and escape from the dropship. Scavenge and craft, and manage your hunger and warmth to survive in the harsh environment. Watch out for the deadly enemies in PvE and PvP-based combat. And don't die out there.
Right, exactly. So it has a bit of everything. It's not just pure PvE or pure PvP. And we're going to show you some gameplay footage where we're going to comment a bit about our experience with it. So we are going to talk a bit about the extra gameplay that we experienced in the closed beta. In the background you can see some of the footage which was kindly provided by Midwinter Entertainment. So, as with similar games, once you load into the play menu, you choose your explorer, you make certain choices regarding your loadout, and obviously you can team up with your friends. And then you're ready to get into a match. The ETA was also very on point, like it was very accurate most of the time. What was very interesting was also the notification that you got when you got into a game, which Xena can tell us a bit more about.
The notification was very loud. Nigh impossible to miss.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I have the tendency to run around with my wireless headset in my flat, so I will be doing other things while waiting to get into a game. And this is definitely a notification you cannot miss. I've encountered this problem with other games where I will unfortunately not hear the audio cue. This one you cannot ignore. It is just the right amount of loud. You will know that you just got into a game. That was like one of my small highlights of this. So what about the team makeup then, Xeno?
Yeah, the character selection screen is pretty neat. Obviously you can only have one person playing each character. It's useful creating a good team composition because you can see what your teammates are picking.
Yep. Or you can just leave it up to the system and not choose anything, so it will randomly select one of the explorers for you, which is hopefully the best choice for your team. Oh, and you could definitely tell when people had a favorite, whether it was based on their abilities or on their signature weapon. But for example, we saw a lot of people playing Holden, which was maybe partially based on if we went first, what we had chosen, or he was just a general favorite. So out of the two of us, Xena was the first one to actually start up the launcher after downloading. So how was that for you?
I was caught rather off guard and happily surprised by a very well-made tutorial where I was thrown into the snowy desert and taught how to play.
And how long do you reckon this tutorial took you?
It was short and sweet, and it told me all I needed to know.
Yeah, I agree. I had a similar impression. Like, it gives you the whole foundation of everything you need, from how to gather things, to movement, to attacking an outpost of sorts, to how to retrieve data points. It's very well rounded. So the map at the beginning is anything but small. What is the area like where you spawn, and what is at your disposal?
Well, you usually spawn in like, I don't know, it's usually like by a couple of rundown log cabins, sort of that kind of aesthetic. And you got some very basic gear at your disposal. You gotta run around and pick stuff up, gear up before you head out. I love the aesthetic of this game, it's so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's what I remember this being one of the first things that I commented on, because I did, for some reason, not expect such high-class visuals already right off the bat in a closed beta. What I also liked about the spawn points is that you are a tiny bit spread out, but in the same area, and everyone can find at least one weapon that is at their disposal with matching ammunition. There's already some scrap, so that at the very least you can probably already craft the thermal boost, and you're just ready to go and head to the closest data farming point. So how did we feel about the weapon options in the game?
So many. Plethora of weapons. Bat, axes, chainsaws on a stick, guns, bows, crossbows, everything. I love it all. Just great.
Yeah, especially because I'm used to games being more focused on firearms, and as somebody who's also done archery in real life, and it's a passion of mine personally, I was very happy to see a wider range. As you said, like there's bows, there's melee weapons, there's so much more to go by. And I love the fact that it also, to a certain extent, mimics real-life archery, as in with the distance, how the aiming works. And yeah, that just makes it more fun for me personally. Needless to say that I obviously really enjoy playing Carly, whose signature weapon is a Heartseeker, but that doesn't mean that she was limited to archery. She could pick up any weapon that I wanted, but she's the only one who can create the Heartseeker, but I could just as well drop it and let somebody else on my team use it. What about the diversity of the explorers? We have definitely racial variety, but what about the playstyle and the abilities?
Oh, all very unique. Amazing. The concepts are great, the signature weapons are great, and the abilities are on a whole new level, ranging from increasing your movement speed to dropping shields, healing your friends, and just yeeting people. That one was great.
Oh, yeah, that one. I've been flung out of a dropship before.
That was funny.
Wasn't it off the balcony even?
Yep.
I do like though that all the shield abilities are very visible, so you are sort of taking a risk when you pop it. So you have to be very strategic about their use. On a similar note, the camouflage does not make you invisible, like it's in the name. You are well hidden in your certain terrain, but you're not completely invisible. Nor are you invisible in bushes, as another Kali player had to find out the hard way, because everyone has this little robot that is like always like hovering above your left shoulder, and they were trying to hide in a bush when I spotted the robot, and this obviously led to a kill for me and some extra data points for my team. I feel kind of bad about it, so don't go hiding in bushes because your little friend will unfortunately give you away. But yeah, tons of weapons that you can pick up, especially in the places that you raid. How challenging would you say that the different places were, and how challenging was the PvE content overall?
I think it was very well balanced. Of course, it was all set around the amount of data points that you could get from said stronghold or growth, etc. The higher end strongholds were hard. They were fun because they were just the right amount of hard with the bosses and everything in there.
What about the wildlife?
The wildlife's evil. Watch out for bears. They will maul you and you will not get a chance to respond.
True, especially like Kodiak bears. I think... Was it you who just started shouting, Kodak, Kodak, Kodak?
Yes, camera bear.
So, yeah, that one might stick. So what I also really like is that you're not limited to carrying your data points with you until the very end. So you don't have to get all of them onto the dropship, because there are actually also upload points in certain areas on the map. So can you tell us a bit more about those, Xeno?
So you get to the upload point, you have to clear it first because there's usually a small cluster of enemies, and you start it up and you hang around it and it slowly uploads your data points. And as it's uploading, more enemies will occasionally spawn around and you have to defend yourself so you don't get massacred.
And of course the squads might also be heading there because they might just have the same idea as you. So why should you be uploading your points?
It secures them, so you don't drop half of them when you die. You basically bank them.
Yeah, thankfully it's not all of them. So what happens if a teammate dies?
After a short while, they'll come back. That's a feature I really enjoy. If a squad mate dies, as long as someone else is alive, they will reclone. Now the timer gets longer as the game goes on, which I think is fair, but it's super neat.
Yeah, that's definitely a feature I also quite enjoy, because you already have enough on your plate as it is, so your job as the last teammate standing is to just get out of whatever danger zone you're in, and just like stay alive until your teammates are recloned by Mother. So how does one get higher tier gear later on in game?
Much like other games of its kind, we have supply drops. And those are always fun because every team on the map knows where they are. Have a little skirmish over some very nice loot.
What can you tell us about the lovely weather?
It's cold, for one. Your body warmth will tick down over time, and you have to make sure that occasionally you stop by a fire. And then there's the storms. If you end up in a storm, it's going to make you freeze much faster. So make sure you seek shelter if you get caught in a storm. However, they do take you off the radar, so it's much easier to move in them.
Yes, it's a great possibility to sneak up on someone or just get away from them, but you need to either find shelter or counteract the cold. For example, with the scrap that you find and your companion robot, you can craft thermal boosts, which will counteract the storm, slowing you down and will stop you from freezing. So let's talk a bit more about these crafting options, because generally you can pick up weapons and ammunition from places that you raid or from cargo boxes. But what about crafting?
So, during the game, you'll find salvage, and as long as you manage to survive the game, you'll take that salvage out of the game with you, which you can then deconstruct in the research menu into its base resources, and proceed to use them to craft blueprints for weapons that you can take into the game, resources, and gadgets.
So apart from the basic thermal boost, you can create weapons and equipment with the materials and components that you get from deconstructing the salvage. So again, you can craft thermal boost, there are reflector shields if you unlock the blueprint. What else?
Biofoam, dim, all kinds of grenades, weapons.
So that is technically all unlocked outside of the game in your research station. You can unlock more than one crafting station over time through leveling up. What about in-game crafting?
So in the crafting menu, you can upgrade your shield to 2nd and 3rd level, which will greatly help you out not dying.
Hopefully. So we've talked about the small storms before, but what about the big one?
The overall storm surrounds the map and will slowly close in as the game goes on and get worse and worse, forcing you into a smaller area, possibly into more players, so that's always fun.
Which also means that you will not be able to avoid PvP for the whole game. I from personal experience cannot recommend being caught in that storm. Not only will it make you freeze to death, but it is also incredibly loud. The faster you get out of it, the better. Thankfully, there is multiple options, one being the fact that there's no fall damage.
The fact that there is also no fall damage makes traversing the land a hell of a lot easier. You don't run off a cliff and just die by accident because you can't see where you're going.
Yeah, or to just get out of the storm. The fact that there's no fall damage is great because you can just slide down a whole mountain just to get quicker from A to B, to get away from squads, enemies, or as said, the storm. Which really, like, if you get caught in it, feels a lot like Best Lightning hitting around you every 2 seconds, bad visibility, it slows you down. So you just want to get the hell out of there. Like, it's fine to quickly backtrack and grab something, but other than that, you need to get out of it. So, Xeno, how does one very quickly get out of certain areas, if necessary?
Cars are present in this game, which is always fun. You can spend a fair toll of scrap to fix one up. They're loud as hell though, so don't be surprised if someone finds you.
They might still fix that. How was your driving experience in game?
Very smooth actually. I drive like poop though, so I kept hitting walls.
But yeah, agreed. They are very loud, and also, at least in the beta, there was also a map marker if a car was in your vicinity, right?
Yep.
So what else is marked on the map, Xeno?
That would be the point leader. So whichever player is currently holding the most data points in the game, point hoarders as they're called in this, they get a big orange circle around them that basically says, "Shoot me, I'm full of money."
Or more points in this case, but yeah, it's either go there or get the hell out of there. At least until you have to go on the dropship, because that is guaranteed PvP. So I never kept a too close eye on it, but the storm basically increases in its categories, and once it hits 6, that's when the dropship is sent out to pick up our merry band of explorers.
I believe so.
And then we have about 5 minutes after it landed to get on it in order to leave the planet or be left behind.
Yep, that was the timer.
By the time we usually get a notification, we're about still a kilometer away from it, but so are many other squads. And we also get an audio cue when the first squad has reached the dropship. So what are some of the approaches that we've seen or done ourselves?
Well, quite often we ended up waiting until the last minute, sneaking on because we didn't feel like dying and losing salvage in point.
True, and there's more than one way to get on because it's triangularly shaped, so there are 3 entrances, and there is also a top floor with balconies from which you can actually still snipe teams that are headed towards the dropship. How were the final skirmishes?
That was always incredibly hectic. You suddenly have all these teams converging into this one tiny place. You can imagine bullets everywhere.
So, last but not least, favorite explorers? I mean, I think it's very clear that I have my heart beats for Kali, but not just because of the archery. I mean, she appears to be Eastern European, maybe Russian, based on the lines that I've heard so far or that I picked up. What about you?
So I started off with Cruz, whose whole thing is just going fast. He has an ability called Tailwind. You activate it and you can sprint faster for less stamina, and anyone that's running behind you gets the same effect, which is super cool. And I also liked Holden, the healer. He pops down a healing dome, and his signature weapon is an amazing semi-automatic rifle.
So they already declared which explorers will be your options when you start the game.
So the base characters you start with are all very unique in their own right. You have Carrot, who comes with a signature sniper and a stun grenade. Valora with a pump-action shotgun, and Bullet Dome, which protects you. And Holden, as aforementioned, his healing dome and his amazing rifle.
Okay, not gonna tell you how many takes that took. But like, I hope you can tell that we had tons of fun in the beta. I wake up literally every single day and I'm like, I want to play Scavengers. And like, damn it, the beta is done. I'm literally so sad. And it's a testimony to how great the game already was just in beta, because there's tons of people on the official Discord server, which you can join from their Twitter profile. I will actually dig up the handle right now. It's @playscavengers. Xeno, what was your highlight?
My highlight? Oh, I just love the uniqueness of the game. It's super neat, you know, having all the different characters with the different abilities and not having to strictly do PvP.
Yeah, that's something that I love because I usually prefer other styles. I'll say that Apex Legends was the first one that got me into like more of a shooter style game. And I love this here. I love having the possibility of like getting your stuff, gear up, take data points, maybe prefer uploading them and then only get into real PvP fighting when it comes to getting on the dropship, because you cannot avoid that. There's no way in hell you can avoid the PvP then, but I'm fine with endgame PvP. Or just like, if Xeno rushes into something, into a squad or whatever, I'll follow.
Yeah.
It also made me bold, like, with randoms. Like, I would be the idiot that rushes in for, like, team kills.
Sometimes dumb is the way to do it.
Yeah. I was also lucky enough, like, when Xeno was doing his stream, I actually ended up on a team with Shroud and another pro player who is a notorious sniper from Apex Legends. I think Yoki1991 is at least a Twitter handle, and it was super fun, and I was super happy that I could like hold my own and just like have fun playing with them. Like it's great. It doesn't matter who you get teamed up with, except for like the accidental disconnects. I mean, because they were stress testing the servers over the last weekend of the beta. But like it's like everyone can play with everyone. There's not that much difference. Like you learn by playing.
Yeah. Just like I love this game. It's so good. The environment, the AI. Ooh,
and also like stuff you didn't see in the gameplay trailer, but like outside of it, the menu is so crisp, the design is so cool. You have the shop, you have multiple explorers that will be added over time. I'm already looking forward to getting Carly back. But then you also have like crafting stations that unlock like at certain intervals based on how much you've leveled. You bring, if you got up with the dropship, you could stuff that you've scavenged, which are occasional drops during the gameplay. If you pick them up, you get on the dropship, you bring them out, you can deconstruct them, you get materials and components from that, which are then go towards building weapons and equipment that you can then decide to bring into the game. So there's multiple options even surrounding the actual gameplay of how you go about it.
Yeah, it's just being able to research these blueprints that you can take into the game, and then suddenly you have more options for the scrap that you pick up.
Especially like early on, if you want like a mid-range weapon and you were unlucky and you just picked up 2, I think they were called slug guns, but you want a mid-range or semi-automatic machine gun, like you can put it into your blueprints and into your loadout, and that makes it available for you at much quicker intervals than maybe waiting to pick it up in the area. So that is a benefit you get out of leveling, but it's not that overpowered that it would ruin the fun in the game for other people.
No, the game is very well balanced. That is also one of the things that attracts me to it. It's super smooth.
Yeah, and there's a lot of areas, and even like for big scale fights, you still have to deal with the environment. Like, yes, sure, you might want to get into PvP with like 3 other squads, but there is also the NPC enemies and the mutants around who will also give you a hard time. Plus the storms, so there's a lot to manage at the same time, but it's super fun. And for somebody who's usually not into very heavily PvP based games, this is the perfect mix for me, and I'm so looking forward to the release of this.
Watch out for the bears.
Yeah, watch out for the bears. Also, we cannot tell you more about Mother than we know, because Mother censors there, and the whole premise is like scientific research, which I love. It's not colonization or war or whatever. No, we're going into pick up data points to further some research. Granted, I don't know to what goal this is going.
I mean, whenever she sends you in, she says, gather research so I can defeat this plague.
Yeah, so
guess she wants to get rid of them nasty mutant boys, but that's like all we know, and I want to see the story unfold.
I don't know if it's just that, yeah, but obviously, like, to combat a plague, how very much on topic for current times. So, yeah, if you're looking for a game that kind of gives you a feeling of, like, you're doing something towards helping, with a plague of sorts, this is the game for you. I mean, I've been saying it on my streams for weeks now, ever since I started the beta. This is probably my favorite game of 21. Like, sorry, everything else is going to be released, but this is gonna be where I spend most of my time.
I could say the same.
No, we had tons of fun. Like, we're still trying to find maybe a permanent third player, but we also love switching around. And this is like one of the few games where I literally didn't mind playing with randoms. Granted, I have my voice chat switched off, but the option is there. It's there. You can use voice chat, which is important for strategic play. But yeah, we're basically just making our own team. But it's fun, and lots of pro players also really enjoy jumping in on the beta. So yeah, no, it's great. Like, I, at least in our streams, will update people as soon as we hear some news. If you want to be first in line for notifications, join the Discord. And yeah, thanks for listening to us ramble over this game that's completely taken our breath away. Okay, we lost Casino again.
Did we talk about the price?
Oh no, actually, I think we haven't, but I thought I lost connection to you there for a second. So, Xeno, tell us, how exorbitantly expensive will this game be?
A whole one big free-to-play.
So yeah, in case you hadn't guessed, because it falls into the range of games with similar playstyles, it is going to be free-to-play. And yeah, that's just like, we were both like, how can this be free to play? It looks so amazing, and there's like so much in it. How can a game this good be free? But yeah, that is our take on it. Highly recommend, because it's free to play. Go and check it out for yourself as soon as it drops. We'll definitely be advertising it on all our social media, as small as our communities are. But yeah, no, we're super hyped for it. And again, thanks to Midwinter Entertainment for providing all of this content so that we could make a much better feedback video about it. So yeah, thanks and bye.